I appreciate it. Thank you, Shane, and Brian for the introductions and the partnerships. I've been with ControlUp personally for about 4 years, and I've been working with the technology for close to 10, or 7 or 8 with ControlUp. It's a great product. I've been in the EUC space for about 30 years, and it's one of the few technologies I've ever seen that have continually evolved from its beginnings in a VDI space to an entire enterprise conversation to really help our customers get a handle of how their users interact with technology, right? So real quickly, I'll just do a quick introduction of myself and Roger on the team here. So my name is John Hare, channel director with ControlUp. So I manage a partnership with Choice, and I've been with ControlUp about 4 years. And Roger Colvin, who'll be doing the demo for us here, has been here much longer than me. But we've also actually worked at 3 companies together. So I'm not sure if Roger's sick of seeing me yet, but I'm not going anywhere yet. So. But yeah, so just quick agenda. We'll go through, talk about DEX. What is digital employee experience? I know it's a fairly new term in the industry, but we've been talking about this at ControlUp since the very beginning, and it's in our DNA of helping organizations understand how technology interacts with their end users. So we'll kind of talk about what DEX really is and what it means, and not only from a control perspective, but from the industry as well. Talk about some of the IT challenges and things that we see organizations going through on a regular basis, and the evolution of how IT is impacting the enterprise, right? Talk about why DEX matters, who and in the organizations and within the IT organizations, and also the business side of the business, understand why that really matters to them and why it's an impactful thing to focus on. We see more and more companies getting into DEX projects and really taking a focus on how that digital employee experience happens. And we'll review our platform. I think the ControlUp platform is amazing, and what you can not only visualize and see from your organization, but also actionably interact with those end users and fix problems and automation. You'll see, what our solution looks like. It's a very simple solution to not only deploy, but use, right? You don't have to learn some new language to be able to leverage our solution. And just talk about what a DEX strategy looks like in an organization. As we see these organizations go through DEX journeys and develop these DEX strategies, not only having a DEX platform, but understanding all those underlying, connective tissues about how the organization works. So first off, I also want to recognize again, Choice has been an amazing partner with ControlUp for over 10 years. I think you're probably the oldest partner in the United States. And Shane's been a huge proponent of ControlUp, since he's seen it back in the old days. If you look at really where ControlUp started, we were a reseller and consulting company around Citrix way back in the day, and our founders found challenges working with customers and trying to even deploy Citrix, right? Since they wrote the product that has now become ControlUp. So the real core use of where ControlUp came from were challenges that they saw within customers, and they started writing tools. And Choice has been doing the same thing for much longer than we have. I've been working with Choice for almost 15 years now. I'm lived in St. Louis for a long time and had an opportunity to work with Brian and Jim and Dana and everybody, when I first got into the software space about 15 years ago. And it's been a great journey to maintain that relationship and work with Choice over the years. They have some top-notch technologists on their teams, and amazing folks, an amazing organization to work with. So appreciate you all being here today with us. So we kind of talk about digital employee experience. And if you've never heard the term before, I think it's really good to just kind of start with the baseline, which is what is digital employee experience? And is really understanding the quality of your users' interaction with the technology of an organization, right? So how do people interact with all of the ones and zeros that an organization puts out there? I've been doing this for next year will be 30 years. I've been in IT. My first job was rolling out Windows 95, right? And back then we were lugging around monitors and computers, but everything was hardwired, everything was connected. You had full control over everything that was happening back then, right? You had a desktop or a laptop plugged into a cable, plugged into a wall, and it connected to all your applications back in the data center on the first floor, right? So back then it was fairly easy to understand how everything connected because it literally connected. Now, not only do we have a lot of flexibility in how people are working, whether that's at home or on the road, or flexible cubes, or using Wi-Fi throughout an enterprise campus, but also the technology that you're accessing, the applications and everything else is not only in the cloud, but may not be even controlled by your organization. It's a SaaS solution or it's a DaaS solution. The more complex those things get, and the less control you have over those things, it's much more. It becomes more important that you can see how that stuff connects, and also understand, from a productivity standpoint, if your employees are interacting with technology on a daily basis, and that is the core foundation of how they're productive, whether that's a line worker or a help desk employee, or a call center, or even marketing, or anybody in an organization, how their day goes is very, very important. And it's very, very hinged on how the technology is working with that user, right? So everything from that laptop to the desktop to all of the backend data center stuff, and then you get into all the cloud components, which just drives that variability up so much higher. And so that's what digital employee experience is: understanding how people are interacting with those technologies. We put the person in the very, very center. And so our approach is, we look at everything from the end user perspective, right? I'm sure you've seen traditional monitoring solutions out there for data centers and things like that, where it just shows you speeds and feeds of things that are going on within your hardware and your data center, but it doesn't really tell you the story, right? It doesn't tell you the story of how those technologies are interacting with people. And that's really where ControlUp comes in, is not only understanding, but then being able to make actionable decisions on how you're going to architect things in the future, and then also how to better employees' experience within your organization and how they interact with technology. Um, First thing I want to show you here is, so 2 years in a row, ControlUp's been named as a leader in the Magic Quadrant for digital employee experience. So this came out last year, and I think that's where you're seeing a lot more of the buzz, is the industry has identified digital employee experience as a major category of how IT interacts with people. So ControlUp, you can see here, we're up in the top right-hand corner. Second year in a row. This year they added in some of the VDI components to digital employee experience, and it really shot us up. But we were in the quadrant last year as well. And I'll pull up real quick. I'll put this link in the chat later on too. But if you want to download the report off our website, you can go out there and download the report. So I'll put that in the chat while Roger is demoing, so you have that for future reference too. But yeah, we're really proud of this. It's been a very interesting time over the last 2 years. I've never been involved in an organization where a quadrant was created around them, right? I've seen how the cloud became and VDI came, and DEX seems to be the next iteration of that too. So we're really happy to be here.